Have you ever been in a relationship and felt like you're with the person, but it still felt like you were alone? Or maybe you've been in a relationship where you just found yourself overcompensating, overgiving all the time. I know I definitely have. The truth is, I struggled with relationships. Have you ever been in a relationship and found yourself there next to the person, but deep down it still kind of felt like you were alone? No judgment in that. Or maybe you've been in a relationship where you found yourself overgiving all the time, wanting to make sure that they were taken care of. Trust me, I have been there. Truth is, I struggled with relationships. Emphasis on struggled. I mean, I was navigating an intense fear of abandonment, a distorted sense of self, anxious attachment. You name it, I was definitely working through it. And what I want to talk about today in this Thursday Tickle is how the too much wound can really impact our relationships. I'm going to share three ways in which this can show up. And of course, how can we really start to heal this wound and our relationships with other people from a place of safety and authenticity? So if you're ready to get tickled, drop a tickle in the comments and I'll be sure to tickle you with some more resources. But coming back to this too much wound, I've been talking about it for the last month, and this isn't something I'm just making up. It really is based off of psychological theories of trauma and attachment. Maybe you've been called too much in your life, or maybe you've been labeled with other things like, why are you so sensitive? Why do you cry all the time? Can you just pull it together? You're so dramatic. In fact, if you can resonate with any of these or you've been called something along those lines, let me know in the comments. Let's take our too much back with declaration and sovereignty and say, you know what? Maybe being too much isn't a bad thing, but I digress. I'll talk more about that because here, again, our focus is relationships. Oftentimes, this wound of too much is directly related to other people because we feel at our core that we are too overwhelming for the people around us. That if we're our true, authentic selves, it's going to scare the person away or they won't be able to handle it or process it. So we're just going to have to swallow our words, neglect our desires, our own needs. No judgment in any of that. One way that this too much wound really shows up in relationships is through overcompensation. Now, I know I can tell you all the different ways that we might be overcompensating, but let's do it through a form of a metaphor. I want you to imagine that you're at a buffet and you just can't resist loading up your plate with every dish that you see. When you go to the buffet, like what are your favorite things to get? Do you get french fries? Do you get sushi? Do you get hamburgers? Do you get ribs? Do you get vegetables? The truth is, when you've got all those different options, it can be hard to please everyone with your culinary choices. It can be hard to please yourself with those culinary choices, especially because you probably get excited and then you end up forgetting to leave room for dessert. You end up overeating, overgiving, and next thing you know, you're feeling lethargic, exhausted because you're just trying to process everything. You're tired. That's what overcompensation in relationships can feel like trying to be at the all you can eat buffet of people pleasing, leaving little space for your own needs, your own desires, your own desserts. In fact, let me know in the comments. This is part of taking up some space, being bold. Share with me in the comments, engage, because I promise you're not too much. And if you're like, Des, I'm really scared, it's okay. Take a breath. But I invite those of you who are really ready to start maybe untangling yourself from this wound to just share what is one desire, one thing that you love that maybe you don't always voice in relationships. Maybe it's hand massages. Maybe it's morning text messages. Let me know because you deserve to be seen, all parts of you. So overcompensation is one way that this too much wound can have. Again, wanting to just give to everyone and leaving little space for ourselves. Side effects of this can include anger because we're not feeling seen or heard and boundaries are being violated. It can lead to resentment, frustration. It can lead to a lot of things. Take a breath, move the body. The other way that the too much wound can impact and really show up in our relationships is this fear of rejection. The too much moon at its core has its feeling like we're too overwhelming for the people around us. So if we're our true selves, what are they going to say? That fear of what if can lead to side effects of catastrophizing, spiraling, staying up late at night, thinking about that conversation that you had over and over and over again and how it could be done differently. You get it. I mean, picture yourself as this colorful, vibrant butterfly, but in the space of fear of rejection, you're hiding in a cocoon because you're afraid that your brightness of your wings might scare others away. That's what fear of rejection can feel like. It can keep you from spreading your wings and fully flying, fully having that freedom and expressing your true self because we're afraid of what will happen when we start to fly. So we stay in our cocoon, we stay in our little hollow space of darkness. No judgment. In fact, go ahead and write in the comments, what's one beautiful part of you? What's one thing that makes you unique? What are one of those beautiful things on your butterfly wing? Beautiful colors. Maybe you just let me know in the comment, like, what's your favorite color? Take up space. It's safe. I promise. Now, the third way that the too much moon can show up in relationships is self sabotage, something that many of us are probably familiar with. And it can be hard to break away from self sabotage because we're not always conscious of it when it's going around. If you've ever told yourself, I am not going to do that thing again, and the moment comes up and you're like, shiitake, I totally did that thing again. No judgment. Logically, we can have this awareness that we want to move through things and we want to do things differently. But is our body on board? Is our nervous system on the path with us? Because if our mind is going and leaving our body behind, there's going to be some disconnect. There's going to be some space where self sabotage can truly happen. I'm Des Caminos, by the way, and I'm an embodiment and somatic practitioner. So I always really want to talk about the power of the mind and body connection because this is such a beautiful piece to the missing puzzle of personal development that I don't think everyone's really talking about. When it comes to really being able to create lasting transformation and experience deep transformation, emotional freedom you can trust and feel safe in, it's going to come with really getting the body on board. Because right now, it's probably holding on to a lot of past experiences. Because the body is like a beautiful, detailed map of the subconscious mind. And so, if you're like, Des, I don't think I really understand what self sabotage is, I got your back. Think of yourself as a gardener who plants beautiful flowers, but then kind of forgets to water them, only to wonder why they never bloom. That's what self sabotage can kind of feel like in relationships. It can feel like you've got the potential for growth, for beauty, for blossoming, for flourishing, but out of fear, you kind of forget to water. You kind of forget to give them the nurturing or the progress that these flowers, these seeds in the relationship need. And that can leave you feeling stuck in the same old patterns. It can have you feeling frustrated. It can have you feeling like there's this lack of growth or progression that's happening. And again, no judgment if any of this relates. Just know when it comes to healing the too much wound, it is possible. And how can we really start to heal the too much wound with authenticity, especially in relationships? My first invitation, I'm going to invite you to define safety. What does safety mean to you? Because until you can define it in your authentic words, it's going to be hard for you to start moving towards it. I could tell you what safety means to me, but the truth is, your version of safety is going to be different than mine, and it's going to change over time. My definition of safety now is so different than it was 5 years ago. But allow yourself to get creative, to get into a space of discovery. Because the more that you can really start to, without judgment, but with curiosity and compassion, start to become aware of your authentic definitions of things, the authentic expression of concepts, how it feels in your body, that's when you can really start to become aware of these nuances of the too much wound. That's when you can really start to say, I want to start to break away from compensation. I want to start to break away from self sabotage. So, how can I make my body and mind feel safe as I try new things, as I liberate myself from old patterns? And if you'd like some support around this, like some more deeper resources, make sure you follow for more resources because I am here to disrupt society and emotional regulation as we know it, because it doesn't always have to be so deep and heavy. What if it could be playful, fun, quirky? Probably more likely to do it. It probably last a little longer. And I'm here for that world. I'm here for the world where you can feel safe in your own mind and your own thoughts, confidence in your decisions, and experience that emotional freedom. So follow for more resources. I share these videos every Thursday. I love you so much. And just know wherever you are in your journey, you are not alone. I've got your back, always. Bye, everyone. I'm Des Caminos again. Mwah! So